from the NFL Network. When it's Giants week, Mike always draws this straw. It's Eagles, Giants, Mikey G on the Xfinity mobile call-in line. Good morning, Michael.
Yes, I do, Anthony. Yes, I do. We had a trivia a couple weeks ago in Good Morning Football, the morning of that game, and I was like, I got a non-Giants Eagles question. I was like, you guys usually do the theme of tonight's game, and it's like, because you knew whatever it was, I would have gotten it. So that pissed me off.
So, how do you see it? Like, the toughest spot in the world for the Giants, right? You're the underdog. You have to face this team twice in 3 weeks. You beat them. Now you got to go on the road. You just lost a horrific game in Denver, right? Where you just blew that game. And playing in Denver, altitude, there's always your body always kicks off after that week. So tough spot for the Giants. Eagles have to win this game, no?
Yeah. I did try to go back and see some of the teams that have blown unbelievable leads, what they did the next week. It was hard, though, because a lot of them happened in the playoffs, so those teams were eliminated. Some of them were like really bad teams. Jeff Saturday's Colts from a couple of years ago, they blew that game against the Vikings. They lost, I think, 20-3 the next week. There was one team that blew a horrendous lead, and then the next week played a team as bad as them. It was like an 0-6 versus 1-7 type of game. And so the only one that I was like, all right, this was a team that was relatively decent or good, and they played the following week. It was the 2010 Giants after the Eagles had that comeback against them, the Miracle of the Meadowlands 2, the Matt Dodge, Deshaun Jackson game. The next week they go to Green Bay, and I remember that team was shook. That team was never in that game. They lost 45-17. It was the day after Christmas. It was like a combination of factors and they were stuck there after the game because of weather, so they couldn't even leave. It was a miserable experience. And that was a 10-6 Giants team that didn't make the playoffs. Remember, they won the following week, and that was the post game where Coughlin said they can all kiss my ass, all the critics. This is a 10-6 team. So I all of that is to say, I don't know how this team is going to carry that, because that Giants team was full with a bunch of veterans. This Giants team got a lot of young guys, right? Like, you just may be able to shake that stuff off. I don't know. I have a hard time kind of reading that one. I guess I'll get there on Sunday and talk to them and kind of look them in the eye and see what I feel a little bit. But another reason I say I don't know is because, I made a joke on the air. We ran the Eagles Vikings highlights, and then they came out of it and they came to me, and I was like, thinking about I said, and they lived happily ever after. I mean, it was sarcastic because 1 week does not put to bed all of the issues that this team seemingly has had. So I just don't know how they respond to that. AJ hasn't practiced in 2 days with a hamstring injury. Do we know even when that happened? I mean, he played the entire game on Sunday, right? I don't see if there's any issue there. So I don't know. I don't know.
I know. I mean, your O-line's banged up. You're in a weird spot. I don't even know what to think about last week after watching the Vikings just get destroyed last night. You start to go, well, what did that win last week mean? Yeah.
That's exactly what I was looking at last night. And I give Carson Wentz credit for trying to battle through. That dude is in significant pain with that left shoulder there. And, but I don't know. I had the same feeling last night. I'm like, this Vikings team is just falling apart at the seams. It's also a week-to-week league, so you hate to kind of do that as well. I do like that all this noise was happening. They had the little mini bye. There are issues schematically with an offense that you don't necessarily fix in the middle of a season, right? You're talking about the overall install of an offense that happens in the offseason that you just can't. But to be able to go back under center a little bit more and to make some tweak, I was impressed with that, because that didn't look to me like a team in turmoil. I'll tell you that much. Can you continue? Can you get the good vibes and keep them going here? We shall see.
Yeah, if you look at the Eagles' schedule after the bye, it's pretty tough. Like, you got,
I haven't actually.
Listen to this. You got Green Bay on Monday night. You got the Lions on Sunday night. Then you got Dallas at 4:25. Then you got the Bears game, right? And and then
at the Chargers,
you're in LA. Like that's a tough five games right there after the bye.
Yeah, and then you got. I mean, I sort of said this a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know what's going to happen in Washington. But you kind of look at those two Commanders games in 3 weeks and say it might come down to that. But here's Dallas on the resurgence here as well. They've done a good job down there. They really have in Dallas with being able to kind of find their footing as an offense. And that was, I mean, we mocked the Brian Schottenheimer hiring. I've stopped really grading hirings when they happen because you just don't know. You really don't know. And the other thing is, and I said this and I continue to say this, Brian Schottenheimer in 2025 was much more equipped to be a head coach than Brian Schottenheimer in 2010 when he was a hot head coaching candidate because he was a good coordinator at the time, or at least with an offense that was putting up points. The hiring practices in the league are all backwards. So he's done a good job there. And the longer they stay alive and the more that I guess the Eagles don't pull away, the more they're going to start feeling that confidence and feeling like, hey, they're coming into our building with a chance to, who knows what the standing is going to be at that time, to really get ourselves in this conversation for the NFC East. So it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle to the finish. I think if we showed you the records coming into the year and we said, here's what it's going to look like at this point, you say, oh, the Eagles are going to walk away with this division. I just don't see how that happens.
No. What is the state of Washington besides just Daniels? They don't look. I was in love with their offseason, and I don't know. They don't look as dangerous. I almost think Dallas is more dangerous than Washington.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. I do. I wholeheartedly agree. They're old. They brought in some guys because you go for it when you've got the rookie quarterback because you're not paying them that much. I'm sorry, the rookie contract.
Right.
For a quarterback. So you get that for 3 years because then you're going to have to pay Jaden Daniels after next year. So this is the time to go for it. And the Eagles did that with the 2017 team because they had Wentz on the rookie deal and they brought in a lot of guys like that. I just the guys that they brought in and like Bobby Wagner is starting to slow down. And a lot of these guys, they just don't look as explosive as they did early in their careers. So I think they're slowing down. I think they made some investments that really are not going to wind up paying off. There is also the intangible. I mean, it's tangible from a data standpoint, but the intangible of, well, there's going to be a regression here. And I think you're seeing that as well. Yeah. Now with Jaden, the knee injury and now the hamstring, these are both, if he was in the playoffs, if they were in the playoffs, he could play through this kind of stuff. We're not pushing it. Right. For the long-term interest of the player and the franchise, obviously being a big part of that. And also they feel like they've got a good backup in Mariota. So that's been a factor because even when he's been out there, he hasn't been himself. And who knows what he's going to be like when he comes back because these hamstrings can linger a little bit. Yeah,
it's funny. I'm totally with you on Washington. I look at this landscape and it's wild. Like, you look at the South in Tampa, once they get through their injury bug that they've been hit with, they're dangerous. Yeah. They're sitting at 5-2. Detroit and Green Bay are obviously the class of the conference. And then, a lot of people love Seattle. I mean, you have the Rams, but a lot of people love that Seattle team.
Yeah. I mean, don't sleep on the 49ers either if they can get healthy. I mean, they lost.
And their schedule is not as easy. Their schedule.
The Niners.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was coming into the season. The big thing about them is per the expected records, they had the easiest schedule for the entire season. So if they hadn't lost Bosa and Warner, I mean, I just okay, I can keep saying Niners and they're going to keep winning games. They're going to have a good record. They're going to be in the playoffs, but at some point,
can
you win the Super Bowl without those two? And now potentially you could see Warner come back. They're talking about leaving the possibility of that open, but that's a tough one for me to get over. I love the Rams. I really like the Rams. Seattle's impressive. I just are you taking Stafford or are you taking Darnold in the playoffs? That's where I get. Right. That's where I get caught up. And Darnold's playing great. And I love Sam Darnold as a person. I've covered him plenty. Love the dude. Wishing him all the success in the world. You're asking me who I take in the postseason right now. I'd certainly take Stafford. So if I'm Tampa Bay, there's enough because the West and the North are going to beat each other up. There's a chance for me to really go out and grab that 1 seed and say, okay, Yeah, people may think these are the better teams, but you got to come through Tampa. So they've got a game this week where they're not huge favorites because they're banged up, but they got to beat the Saints. And I was looking at their schedule. This was the tough part of their schedule. Um, Eagles, Seahawks, Niners, Lions. They went 2-2 there, so they basically treaded water there. After the bye, they still have some tough games down the stretch, though. Home against the Cardinals, home against the Saints, home against the Falcons, at the Panthers, at the Dolphins, home against the Panthers. Could really pull away with the 1 seed at that point.
Wow. I mean, I'm with you, man. I can see it. You getting any early trade deadline scuttlebutt? Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
Buyers, sellers, all that stuff?
Yeah, a lot of feelers. I mean, and stuff can change. I mean, stuff has already changed, I think, in my mind. Because the Chargers were looking for a running back because they lost Hampton for the 4 weeks probably and then some. I know they were talking about last night he was potentially coming back in a couple of weeks. I think he's going to be beyond that 4-week window for being on injured reserve. They had talked to teams about running backs, and here you got Kamani Vidal, who's really tearing it up for them in the backfield. So that and I said that at the time. I said, if Vidal goes off, maybe that changes their plans to look for a running back. Edge rushers are going to be a big one. Teams are looking for edge rushers. The Dolphins got a couple of them. I know Mike McDaniel pushed back on this idea of don't talk about these guys being trade chips while they're playing football. But I'm looking for the Dolphins to potentially be active. Interior offensive linemen, people need them. So I think you might see some guards potentially on the move here in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. We've already seen some action. We usually get around, I think it's a dozen trades all in. I think we're at 3 or 4 in season right now. Flacco, Owe. There's another one I'm blanking on. So I think you'll see a good half dozen to 8 more as we get closer to the trade deadline on the 5th.
Corner or edge?
Corner.
Yeah.
For the Eagles?
Yeah.
Probably corner.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. You can't have Ringo play. I know you're waiting on Ja'Cory Bennett, but
yeah.
I mean, Ringo can't play. You can't have him exposed against teams like the Lions or the Packers or Tampa Bay when they're healthy.
Yeah. Reek Woolen with the Seahawks is a guy that we've talked about as a potential guy that could be traded. I mean, he started off great and sort of been in like a weird situation out there in Seattle. So he's another guy he's a guy that could be potentially on the market. I think you're going to see some corners on the move. So corner, interior offensive lineman, and edge rusher, I think are the 3 that are the big positions that we get to the trade deadline.
Hey, around the league a little bit. Lamar back. So can the Ravens save their season?
Yeah, they can. It's got to happen now. I mean, they're in the part of their schedule, and I mentioned this. Now, obviously, they felt they were going to be better than 1-5, but they knew how banged up they were and thought they could steal a game here or there. If you're at 2-4 instead of 1-5, it's a lot different. Now you sort of have to run the table or at least 5 of the next 6 here. So yeah, I think they can. They're trying to maintain a relax. Like we've got a lot of talent. We feel good about our atmosphere here and the way we do things. Let's just get back to one play at a time, one series at a time type mentality. The games came out of the room. The games are funny because ping pong and cornhole and all this stuff. Keep knocking. Sometimes they're put in and it's a good thing. Sometimes they're taken out and it's a good thing. It's like you never know which side of games in the locker room. Right now, it's like get them out of there. We need more of a business-like approach around here. So the players did that, not the coaches. It was first reported as the coaches, but the players are the ones that said, let's get these things out of there.
It's weird because everything's going to go back through the Chiefs. The Chiefs look nasty now. All of a sudden, now you get Rice back, Worthy. Oh, man, they look good. I know Spags wishes he had some help on the D-line, but listen, that offense looks good. Buffalo's weird. Is there something off with Buffalo?
There was, yeah. I mean, I could say injuries. Everybody's dealing with injuries at some point. I am surprised that their offense has had trouble clicking here because they've got people at the receiver position, I mean, we came into the season talking about how like, oh, that used to be the point of concern. Now they feel so good about the depth of the receiver position. And, Keon Coleman it just hasn't happened for him yet here in the NFL. So yeah, there's something a little off, but they're coming off a bye. They've been excellent off the bye with Sean McDermott, which is not a surprise since he's an Andy disciple. So I'm not shoveling dirt on them by any means. I think that division is going to be a week 18, and I don't even know if they play each other week 18, but that's going to be it'll be settled week 18. The Patriots will be in there. Patriots will be in the postseason. The question is who wins that division. I think that's what you're going to wind up seeing in the AFC East.
Wow, it's already starting, man. Like I can't believe that
Buffalo.
All of a sudden,
Buffalo
it's
has the
flying
Jets
by.
18.
We're in week 8.
Goes fast, man. Goes fast.
Oh my God!
And everything that happened in week 1, I mean, we felt like the spit hasn't even dried on Dak at this point. But yeah, it has, right?
Hey Mike, we got a super chat in our chat right now. They're asking, have you heard or get the feeling or vibes that AJ Brown will ask for a trade at some point, if not in the middle of the season, in the offseason?
That's two different questions. I'll say no to the in-season. I mean, he's not. I'm just like, every time I say this, I'm like, this is all they're gonna have 15 clips of me saying he's not getting traded if he gets traded at the trade deadline. So I'm always scared of this stuff because it never disappears. But I've been given every indication that there is no chance he's going to get traded during the regular season. But something you're going to have to potentially have a tough conversation this offseason with a lot of pieces on this team. If some of the consternation doesn't get washed away by success. And honestly, because I've thought about this, I'm like, well, maybe they'll just be good enough this season that stuff will be. You're the defending Super Bowl champions, right? Anything other than another Super Bowl, nothing's washed away, right? Everything is kind of sort of on the table. So I do believe we'll have some conversations after this season with regard to AJ Brown's status and the status of some key guys on this team, because the social media post again the other day, even if he didn't mean anything by it, which I still don't understand. He had a great game and he was used in key spots. Like, I just don't know. I mean, please tell me, AJ. I want to know. We all want to know. Even if he didn't mean anything by it, he knows by putting it out there it was going to be interpreted a certain way. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little fatiguing. Now the players are kind of they're used to it, so it's not that big of a. Sometimes it's bigger outside. It's more noise outside for us than inside. That's the kind of word I get.
You agree? You believe that?
Well, yeah, from the one guy, yeah.
I mean, but you're. I mean, obviously, when we ask about it, we're going to be told that, right?
No.
And I'm not saying I'm not.
No, but this is different than a normal. Yeah, like the AJ. It's almost like they're used to it, Now,
right? It's the way certain couples communicate that way, right? And it's just like that's just them. You know what I mean, I get that part. I do get that part of it.
Right.
But when it affects the on-field product, like not that it never did, but it didn't affect the on-field product last year, right?
Right.
So when it affects the on-field product like it has this year, all of a sudden it takes on different context, and now you can't push it aside and say, "Oh no, you guys have it all wrong." And what you're seeing, on the sideline
I don't think it's you guys have it all wrong. I just think it's like, all right, well, like we know how to navigate the situation. I'm curious how the quarterback plays again, because I thought he played very well last week, and
he did.
I'm curious to see how he does, and because they're going to still have trouble running the ball.
Yeah, I talked to Jeffrey Lurie the other day. I still haven't transcribed. It was a brief interview, but I haven't transcribed it, so I'll be paraphrasing it. But I talked to him briefly at the league meeting, and he said he talked about Jalen, said that there's nobody better at blocking out all the noise than that guy right there, and that's why we, structure our roster in certain areas that way, because you gotta in this day and age, as an athlete, as an NFL player, you have to have that mentality, and he said he certainly does. So I do, and that's why I go back to, I said, with all that going on, how did they win last week?
Right.
How did they win the Super Bowl last year? I still don't know. And it's because, he does yeah, there's criticism that you can have of Jalen Hurts. That's not one of them. He's able to put the blinders on and block out a lot of stuff.
All right, last thing. Yesterday was a dark day for the NBA.
Yep.
Was there any talk about throughout the NFL and props and all that stuff? I'm sure in the league, they're talking about their own, the prop stuff is a dangerous thing.
Well, it sounds like in the case of this NBA, like that was easily controllable because the guy knows I'm leaving 10 minutes into the game. Load up on the unders is the way that it sounded like in that one. Yeah, I mean, there's always high concern. They've had issues with players gambling. They have not yet encountered something like that. Right. So I think that because everybody thinks that the NFL is rigged and controlled, and that's why that whole script thing took off a couple of years ago when Arian Foster, I believe, is the one that said it, and all of a sudden, and next thing you know, the NFL is making fun of it. They've got a video for the schedule coming out, and like people are reading through the script for the season. I believe that was the NFL's own account that did that. So I know people are already predisposed or positioned to think that that's going on anyway. Just one little sliver of it, because the NBA's had this before with the Donaghy stuff, right, and survived it. One little and the NFL would survive it. I'm not saying like one little but that all of a sudden is going to just fan the flames of what people think is happening anyway. So yeah, I mean they're vigilant about this stuff. I know what they tell us. I know the training that we have to go through. I know the things that we have to talk about. The players have it the same way. There was a recent one where a coach was reprimanded for betting on NBA games. And I heard from somebody in the building that called me and said, "Hey, can you clarify that there's two different sets of rules for the player and for the coach? And this guy was a former player who became a coach, so he didn't realize." I said, "You guys have to go through it every single year. Like they made it clear to you. He may have been confused because, as a player, I was able to do this, but that means he didn't pay attention to the training that they give him. Like I can't be like, it was an easy, simple mistake because they're supposed to know the rules." So the couple of guys got hit because they were at the facility and they can see what the phones are doing at the facility if they're on the Wi-Fi there inside the building. So they try to keep an eye on it as best they can. We don't need this scandal. I'd rather be talking about football than be talking about this kind of stuff. So hopefully it doesn't happen.
Problem is you get in bed with it, and this is what happens. You take the money, you open Pandora's box. Yeah,
but does that change? I get that. I do. But does that change if what could have been happening years before when this stuff? I mean, player props have been around for a while, right?
No, not like this. No.
But they didn't just start with
props.
I mean,
in
Vegas,
when the legalized sports betting happened is when the props started. I remember.
You think so? Hold on. Let me back up.
Okay. When Super Bowl, they would put out props for the Super Bowl. Now
it's not regular season type
every
stuff.
game. I think it changed dramatically. It also is positioned differently. Right? Also positioned differently, right? Like it's pervasive. It's also positioned as, hey, we're all having fun. Like, so be it. Like it's a way more a part of the culture now. I mean, back then, you had to go to you remember, you grew up there. Like, you go to the corner. that was it. You meet a guy, and that was it.
Meet a guy, yes.
But nowadays, it's different. So.
It's
Pandora's box, and they took all the money.
This has changed a lot of things. I get that part. Yes, I understand that. I just meant in terms of, once they take the money, shenanigans were happening before that, and so it's it's not like the NFL
level. Like it's too big. It's way
right. But
bigger.
I'm saying is that I'm not. Is it more of because they're taking they're in bed now with the companies and we've got live reads on the air, or is it because this thing has made everything a lot easier? I think it's this more than anything.
Yeah. I don't really disagree. My brother, great stuff. I always love it. It's every Friday. You're the greatest. We'll see you. Are you going over Mom's? You going to get a chance to see Mom?
No, I'm driving down morning of, and then I'll probably just bounce right after that. But they'll be up. We got my daughter's birthday coming up, so they're coming up to see me. Then I'm taking them for their anniversary. We're gonna go see Hamilton. They've never seen it. And Leslie Odom, that's his name. Leslie Odom is back in the show. So it's funny. I saw that back in the spring. This is what happens with like Broadway and concerts. You buy the tickets 7 months in advance and you forget about it.
Yeah.
And my wife goes, I just saw Hamilton on a bus. When's the show? I was like, oh my God, I think we missed it. Right. And I paid a lot of money. And thankfully it was 2 weeks from now or whatever it is. So they're coming up for that. So they'll be up.
Good.
They'll be up plenty. There was a great SNL skit. Dude, which I don't watch a whole lot of SNL.
Dude, the Plans trailer. That's so funny. So good. Yes.
Nailed it. Go watch it after the program that you're watching right now. Don't leave this program. But go watch it after. It's a 2-minute clip. It is absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome. Brother, we love you. Kiss the girls. Thanks,
You got it. You too, pal. See ya.